So I don't know where this is gonna lead me, but what I know is that this is gonna be edited, and this is actually something that, something like a new video format. And hello, welcome back to this episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm pretty fucking pumped to be here again. But what is different today? I've been speaking about in the intro, and I haven't cut the intro. This is, one of the things that I won't cut because, it's kind of saving me a lot of time, I guess. And this is great. But today it's going to be about sleep, actually. And even though, I've been doing just a lot of videos on sleep, and I've been quite reading a lot, about sleep. And I've been also featuring a very long book, which was Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker on this topic. So if you want to check it out, I'll probably not gonna just put it in the description because time, but just look it up on YouTube. Just, type in kind of my name, so Christopher Walch, and then just Matthew Walker or Why We Sleep or something like this. And you will find probably 20 videos. I guess it should be 10 videos. It took me just a pretty long time because it was a very, 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 very long summary. And so this is only going to be me talking about what I've just been learning about sleep and what I've been reading about sleep and what I've been recognizing in terms of myself, in terms of sleep, actually, because I've, pretty much had a big problem with, getting proper sleep. And it has, always been a thing. It was always just a little bit troubleful for me actually getting some sleep because I don't know why. Even just, I think 3, 4, 5 years ago, I've always had just a little trouble with sleeping actually. And I do still think this is just some kind of normal and this is just not something I, should be worried about or something. But it was just very fucking annoying, and it was really annoying. And through these experiences and through the really, really recent experiences, I want to just, talk to you and tell you what I've just been experiencing, what I think you should not be doing, and what you should not be doing is not sleeping. Please get appropriate sleep. This is actually, if you do not have the time to actually watch the whole video, this is it. Please just, get some sleep. It is very, very important. At least for me. And by the way, the podcast version of this video won't be edited, so only in terms of the quality and whatsoever. But there will not be any cuts. So for all the podcast listeners and for all the people on YouTube you're watching the video, please, if you want to get the full one, with all the mistakes that I'm making and all the shitty things that will happen in the episode, please check out the podcast. There's everything you're gonna need. And also, because I'm just thinking about it here, do you see a little slider of my Instagram? And if you want to just subscribe or actually follow my Instagram, I'm actually posting 8 posts by now. I just, kind of changed it up yesterday, and I'm going to, I think, talk about this a little later on. And I've been doing just 10 posts a fucking day on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and a little bit of, LinkedIn, because it seems to be an just platform that's going to come, and therefore I want to just be one of the first people who are going to use it just on a great basis, I would say. But so if you want to check it out, all the links to the social media platforms that I am on should be down in the podcast description, or actually episode description, and or the YouTube video description. But I hope I'm gonna do just all the Zooms post-production, why I'm actually doing this video like this and why I'm adding in it and whatsoever, because I kind of feel okay, the videos that I'm producing are good. I really like them, and I do think that you get a lot of value out of them. But the problem there is that it's not only me, you could just go through the summary on yourself and whatsoever. This is not the main problem, but this is also one of the things. And besides that, I do just read the whole fucking time long, which is nothing bad. I'm really practicing my reading and really just enjoying the reading as well. But the thing there is, sometimes I get caught up into the reading and to just actually not understand what I'm reading. And then, I can't contribute anything of what I know of, or actually what I think about this, what I'm reading, just through the whole process, which is yeah, a little fucked up. It could be worse, it could be way worse, but yeah. But still, this video gonna be about sleep and why sleep is actually important and what things actually fuck with your sleep, and why actually about sleep. And I'm getting a little headache out of I don't know where. Why sleep? Because I had a lot of trouble with sleep, first of all, and second of all, because I've just actually been listening to one of Matthew Walker, so the author I've just mentioned before. I've been listening to one of his, it was actually a TED Talks podcast version, and he was speaking, and it was just, pretty amazing, or quite interesting to see. And he basically was talking about the same things as in the book, which are, it is incredibly detailed. Not only the summary is quite detailed, but also the book itself is very detailed and really goes into depth. And I can really think that you will get a lot from it, and you will also get just a really big amount of knowledge through the summary, because it is so incredibly great written and whatsoever. And I'm gonna link the website of the summary down below. I should be doing it. I'm normally always doing it. I'm always just featuring this website that I'm on because it is what it is. So yeah, how should I start, or where should I start actually? What the author, so what Matthew Walker is always quite talking about, and has always been just talking about, quite a lot about, was that you should actually get 8 hours of sleep. Like, there is no minimum of, 7 hours or 6 hours, but you should actually get 8 hours of sleep. And I think he's actually a PhD. I think he should be a doctor or something, which kind of really, even though it's a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of unnecessary to view it as such, but yeah, I kind of think that, people will trust him more, even though, it could be the thing that he's just talking shit, even though he's a PhD, but never mind. The thing is, there is no minimum, there is no 6 hour night, there is no 7 hour night. He actually says that, 1 hour of sleep deprived time, like, 7 hours, not make it so difficult. 7 hours of sleep could actually fuck your whole system. And this was just amazing for me. And he was kind of adding just later on in the podcast that we are actually the only kind of animal that is actually depriving themselves of sleep. We are actually the only ones who are doing this shit. And the thing is, it kind of makes sense. It really makes sense because, we are quite the only ones that, well, it's difficult to say because I am not a fucking dog and I'm not a fucking cat. And therefore it's quite difficult to say, okay, animals do not have religion, animals do not have kind of a system. They truly have a system, but not like such a society. Yeah, okay, they should have society or social systems and whatsoever. But we are actually the only ones that kind of sleep deprive us. Through, the work we are doing, through night shift actually. And actually the World Health Organization, which is the WHO, and you can Google this, and they actually said, according to Matthew Walker again, that night shifting is actually very harmful, and they validated it, and they actually have written it down some sort of, so it has always been known. It was always a thing that, okay, night shifting and kind of working in the night and whatsoever and not sleeping is for sure not healthy. I think there's never been a debate about whether it's healthy or not. It truly isn't. It's kind of non-debatable. But they actually validated it, and they actually said, okay, it is actually unhealthy. And it seems to be like sleep deprivation is correlated to a lot of diseases. Additional to that, there are just a lot of cancers you can get through not sleeping. Will it be never mind, I think you know what I mean. So the man's sexual organ that's inside of us, and then also breast cancer and a lot of other cancer things. And it makes sense, because why would we sleep deprive us? It really doesn't make any sense, and I can really understand why it has actually never been a problem, and I also understand why it is a problem. Like, we have schedules and we just have to do things, and like in the really early days of our humankind, nobody had to do such things as, going to school or whatsoever. We had to fucking eat, we had to sheet, yeah. Eat, shit, and sleep, actually. And that was it. And survive, actually. But, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so, first of all, some sort of an introduction, I guess. And it's actually really, really hard to actually kind of organize all the thoughts that I have in my fucking brain. By the way, if you do also have trouble with kind of organizing your brain and organizing everything that is inside your brain, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it should be yesterday. Yesterday, I've been featuring a post from the TED Talks. So there is the TED.ideas.com website, which actually features a lot of TED articles, not like any speeches, not like any audio things, really written articles, which are pretty great and pretty interesting to go through. And they were basically talking about how you could just really declutter your brain. I'm not going to go really into depth because I'm already 11 minutes in, but I would suggest you to go to to my channel or somewhere, or to the podcast, wherever you are, and the episode is quite named Decluttering Your Brain. And basically one of the things that really could help is writing everything down, which also makes sense, because if you're writing down, you see, okay, this is inside my brain, this on the fucking paper is inside my brain, and now you can just switch it up and organize it and see if it even makes sense, which is actually a pretty great point. But what did I actually want to say? I think I should actually just get into how to actually sleep better, or how to, those things. I think, first of all, something that he has mentioned also in the podcast and also in the book and wherever, is that you should have, quite a cold room, or you should be in quite a cold room, which somehow also makes sense. Today, a lot of things make sense, actually. It makes sense, because during the night, it's definitely cooler than during the day. And, it makes sense that our human body, who is actually kind of, quite used to being outside there, not like inside houses or inside any shelter thing or whatever, it makes sense that we get sleepy through just, the coldness and, whatsoever, and that we are actually able to sleep better when it's night than during the day and whatsoever. It just makes sense. Why would we be able to sleep during the day? The thing is, during the night we weren't able to sleep, and I'm trying to figure it out myself why it could be like this. So it's quite everything that I've said is either based on a book or based on some experiences that I've made myself. So please do not really just kind of bet on it or something. Take it with a grain of salt, definitely. But it just makes sense, in the night where it's a little bit colder, it makes sense that we're just sleeping better. And I think you've just experienced it yourself when, it's summertime and everything is so hot and it's, 30 degrees Celsius, which is, let me look up, always a little bit problematic, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fairly warm, I would say. And you definitely have experienced that you weren't able to sleep and everything was like, okay, you're sweating, which is, a really incredible fucked up position, or really fucked up thing if you're actually sweating and, everything is wet and everything feels like very shitty, and it is fucked up. It really is fucked up. But the first one is, having a cold room. The second one is not taking or not drinking any caffeine or any alcohol or any like this shit. And one of the reasons, so basically, a lot of people actually do not know how caffeine is working. Basically, you have a receptor. I just have to close something. You have a receptor. This is now the receptor. Okay, just go in the middle of the screen. And this is the receptor, which is basically there for actually receiving melatonin. Melatonin is basically, I don't know if it's a chemical, it's also not an endorphin. I will now say chemical because it is just something in our body. Let's put it like this. This is the receptor. and then caffeine goes over the receptor, and therefore the receptor isn't able to actually receive the melatonin, which is the stuff that makes us actually sleepy, any longer. And then it covers up. The half-life of melatonin is actually, I think, 5 to 6 hours, if I'm remembering correctly, which is fairly long. You just have to think about it. If you're drinking a coffee at 3 p.m., which is 15, then 5 hours to actually get the half of it, broken up, which means that by 8 o'clock you will just have, you will have half of the caffeine you have taken into you broken up, and then additional 5 hours to that, which means then, let me think, at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're getting sleepy. Well, it isn't that bad actually. I actually thought 3 p.m. is really the worst time you could actually take a coffee. But it's actually quite great, 1 p.m. being sleepy, for the people who are going to bed very early, it is fucked up. It really is. But for all the people who are just going to bed at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., whatever a.m. it will be, it's quite okay. So no colder room. He actually said 80 degrees Celsius, which is fairly cold, and which is 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. It is just really cold. And he said, a lot of people are able to sleep with such a temperature pretty well. A lot of people. Not everyone, most of them, he said. And it really is the truth. For me, 18 degrees is way too cold. The thing is, something that I've noticed that also was mentioned by him is that we are actually able to sleep better or get to sleep better if it's too cold rather than if it's too warm, which is actually the case. In the winter, even though it's fucking cold in my room, and it's okay, now I have 23, which is 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit in my room. It is warm. It is really warm, but I've worked out and whatsoever, so it's kind of makes sense. So I actually have to write it down. So cold. So he said that this is actually the best temperature you can be in, or you could use to actually get to sleep. So cold, no caffeine, and also no alcohol. Alcohol is somehow just, fucking with your brain in general. It is really fucking with my brain, and it somehow also does something to your REM sleep. So it seems to actually kind of extend your REM sleep, which is basically the second phase of sleep. The first one is the NREM sleep. The second one is the REM sleep. There's a lot of detail in the book. So please, if you're really detailed into how it's working and whatsoever, please go to the podcast and or to the YouTube videos where I'm talking about the book. It is incredible. It really is incredible. I've learned such a lot of things as I now just recognize by actually kind of talking about this. So the first thing is the temperature. Yeah, it is called temperature because I always said if it's warm, if it's cold, shit like this. And the second one is no caffeine and no alcohol. I can't, talk too much about the alcohol because I kind of forgotten it. I only know the caffeine. The thing with caffeine, which I haven't covered yet, is if the receptor is free again from the caffeine, your tiredness will really hit you. Because it also makes sense, you have your receptor, the caffeine goes over it, the melatonin isn't able to kind of get into the receptor, and what happens? All the melatonin gets produced, but you're not recognizing it. It's not like it's not there, it's not like you're not getting sleepy because it's, somehow not there and it's not getting produced. It is there, and it will fuck you if it is really coming, and it is really gonna fuck you. Really gonna use. At least I'm thinking about it. I haven't been drinking. I actually have been drinking a lot of coffee. A few years ago, I think 1 or 2 years ago, because it was always like a thing I wasn't allowed to, and it's this thing. You know what I mean? But since then I actually haven't drinking. I don't fucking know. Drinking any coffee any longer because I kind of seem to not, my body seems not to like it. I get some cramps in my tummy and, all these things, and which is just not nice, which is really not that nice. And therefore I just, was like, okay, why would I consume something that's literally and just noticeably not good for my fucking body? It Doesn't make any fucking sense. But first thing, temperature. The second thing is the caffeine. The third thing is actually kind of, I hope you understand what I'm actually now going to say. The third thing is kind of associating your room with sleep. We are in an area, and we are in just an era actually also where a lot of people only have one room. So I basically have one room. I'm in a flat with my whole other family and whatsoever. It just makes sense. I have only one room. I'm really happy that I'm having my own room and whatsoever. It's always about perspective, by the way. But you see, there is my bed. This is my bed. And I'm working on my desk. The problem is, if you're really working in your bed, why? Because then your body and also your mind actually also kind of associates your bed with working. But your bed should only be associated with, I think it was two things. The first thing was definitely sleeping, and the second thing is you could probably think about it. Yeah. Or think of it actually. Yeah, so the association, I think it's the same thing with everything else. If you're just sleeping on your desk, I think you will not have a great time to actually kind of work there, because your body and your mind associates it with sleep and with not being productive and with doing whatever. So the third thing is actually association. Kind of write it down pretty quickly. The fourth thing actually is, what was the fourth thing? Is there anything else actually? I don't fucking know. It's feeling quite strange, by the way, to kind of, resume what I've been talking about, what I've been doing right now. The whole thing seems to be a little bit crazy. It seems to be quite different. It's taken me quite a lot of time still. I'm already 22 minutes in. I'm gonna cut this, and I'm gonna upload this, and I'm gonna render this, which is a lot of thing to do. But I hope it's fun. I really hope it's fun, and I guess it is fun, and I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm really looking forward to it, honestly. Really doing it. Because it's always been like, okay, I actually have a vlog in terms of the footage somewhere laying around, either on Google Photos or on my phone, actually, and I haven't actually cut it or edited it and whatsoever. And it has actually always been a thing that I've been looking forward to, and actually kind of, producing something, kind of editing something, making something good, which is the same thing that I'm trying to do here. I'm hopefully adding a lot of things and just, some kind of visualization of whatever would be great, at least. I hope that I'm actually doing this somehow, or at least some music, so that the fucking experience is a little bit better. So the temperature, the what does it say? No caffeine and no alcohol, the association, and the fourth thing was actually, I think there are even more things, there's such a lot of things that actually contribute and or kind of correlate towards sleep and getting better to sleep and whatsoever. I do have one. The fourth thing is actually I've forgotten it. What I want to mention is actually getting up when you can't sleep. And now you may be thinking about it doesn't make any fucking sense. It does. The thing is, if you can't sleep, there's probably a reason for that. Maybe you've been just, consuming too much blue light, which is from every single light source, like, such a lamp, or I do not know if the calculator is actually sending out some blue light, but also the screen that I'm in front of and the screen that you're in front of, and especially this phone here. It is just sending out a lot of blue light, which is actually reducing the amount of melatonin that is produced in your body, which therefore, kind of reduces the sleepiness you're feeling. Because melatonin, as I said, is the endorphin or the chemical or whatever it is that actually makes you sleepy. And then if you do not have any melatonin, you're also not feeling that sleepy. And this is one of the reasons why you maybe see people with some yellow glasses, which should filter the blue light that's, sent out by all these kind of technical things, like screens. But I do think there are some, natural sources as well. So get up, really get up and do something without a screen. Just maybe even get in another room. could also be a thing, but just write something. I've always been drawing something when I wasn't able to sleep. I drew some drawings, obviously. And I've just been doing something, or reading is also a good thing, something that will make you sleepy, will get you sleepy. And what I've always been doing is actually, really doing then something that, just remember now what it was. Fuck this shit. What did I want to say? What the fuck is wrong now? But actually, what I wanted to mention, before this and before I forgot the other thing, because I kind of written down something, which is the same exact thing that happened to me right now, is that actually you should go to bed at the same time, and you should also wake up the same time every single day, whether it's weekend, whether it's the weekday, you should do it. Because it is also something like a habit, the same habit as, okay, you should not do work in your bed because you get, an association in your brain that this bed is for work, but it's only for those two things that I mentioned. And it's the same thing with, getting up and going to sleep. If you're having a pattern is, like every day the same thing, you will have a better time sleeping and getting more restful sleep, and it seems to be so better sleep, longer sleep, and better in terms of the quality of the sleep, and it seems to really improve it. But yeah, is there anything else that I'm thinking about? I do hope that this episode is not gonna be so cringy, not gonna be so bad. Hope it's actually gonna be pretty great, I really hope it is. What is it? Is there something? Is there something there? So I've covered the temperature, no caffeine and alcohol, the association, the same time going to bed, maybe even some music if you're able to get to sleep better with some music or with so-called white noise, which seems to be actually the noise that is somehow produced in the womb of your mother when you were in your mother quite, which makes you sleepy and which lets you sleep better somehow, which would make sense. It would make sense, but I don't know. There are some apps, there are some actually gadgets you can use. There are a lot of things. So sound could actually really help you. It has been something that I've tried, and it's also some association and pattern thing as well, because if you're listening to the same sound to get to sleep every single day, your body associates this sound with getting to sleep and with sleeping as such. And then you maybe have a greater time actually getting to sleep because your body knows, okay, if you're playing a certain song, I do have to just go to bed. I do really just have to sleep now. Now it's time. And yeah. This was it with the episode. I do hope that you've liked it. I do hope that there was something in it. I do guess there was. It's pretty long, I guess, for the value you're getting there. I maybe just have to write down all the things that I'm just, willing to go through beforehand and not like just doing it. Would maybe be better, but I'll see. I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and success, but still, please remember how you're gonna be remembered, and so therefore, please just, be a nice person, give away to the people, and give away to the world. And with that being said, I see you.